What's going on, guys? Chuck here with another awesome Blu-ray purchase. And what I got today is kind of a hot item at the moment. Something a lot of people were very excited about. But there's also, I don't want to say controversy. That's kind of too big a term, but it's some things about this release that got some people a little miffed. And of course, we're talking about the newly released 35th anniversary edition of the 1990 version of Night of the Living Dead. This is the 4K Steelbook. Like I said, it's the hot item that just released. Everybody's very excited about this. You're probably seeing several videos talking about this. And one of the things they have in common, a lot of these that I've seen, is the whole idea that this set was unknowingly, I guess, a limited release. It sold out at Amazon very quickly if you didn't pre-order it. And that's been a kind of a, I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. It's been a sore spot with a lot of people. This goes back to the Nightmare on Elm Street 4K Steelbook box set that pre-ordered, and people waited because they didn't have a picture of it or whatever the case may be. I was one of those people as well for whatever reasons, and you missed out on that initial run, forcing you to pick up maybe the UK version, which is I think probably sold out by now, but it had more run. Whatever, Amazon had a limited release and people didn't jump on it, so they missed out. This one was put up, and it was apparently sold out very quickly. And there's no mention of a restock or repressing, whatever the case may be. I got a feeling that probably will change, but who knows? But a lot of people I know were upset because of this whole limited thing. It's not like it's a boutique label, or they didn't mention this was limited to so many editions. They just basically put it out and then it was gone. And why is that? Why is this not, especially from a studio, why is this not just readily available as standard? And who knows? I'm sure there's plenty of reasons. The studios will probably tell you, well, we weren't sure, if it would sell out or it would sell. We didn't want to put too much out there, then, eat the cost. But I think that's an underestimate because people, there was a lot of buzz. This was going to sell. Everybody wanted this. Whatever the case may be, that is a big issue. I jumped on it. I learned my lesson from Nightmare on Elm Street, and I jumped on it right away. Because the good thing about Amazon is that as long as pre-order, grab it, put an order in for it. You don't pay until they ship it. So, if you want to change your mind at the last minute, now you can do that. That's the good thing about Amazon as far as pre-orders go. A lot of places with pre-orders, they make you pay up front. That's what I like about Amazon and Arrow. I pre-order Arrow right away. They won't ship, or they won't pay until you ship. So keep it in mind for next time. But I got a feeling, at least I hope, that this will get a repressing. At least I really hope it would, because this is a great release, and it's obviously selling well. And it's something people have been wanting. This is, like I said, to have this film. It's kind of, I want to say it's been out of print because it's been hard to find for years. But people really wanted to get this and reevaluate it. It's got a nice cult following. People need to see this film and rediscover it if you haven't, because this is a really good remake. And there's a lot of stories about this film, why it was remade. The issue of the original film falling, awry of copyright, and it's in public domain. That's why you'll see so many different versions of the original Night of the Living Dead. You'll see it on the Mill Creek box sets. Someone's putting out some kind of Night of the Living Dead edition. I remember so many VHS tapes over the years. Anchor Bay put it out a couple of different. There's so many, and that's why. But then the creators just wanted to kind of get back on that, or get something, recoup something from that, and put it under copyright. So you get this Night of the Living Dead remake with Tom Savini in his directorial debut. Of course, a good friend of George Romero's, who worked on Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead. However, some of the stories behind this was a very troubled production, which, the stories on that you can research on your own. I don't have all the details. I just know the broader points. Savini was going through divorce, wasn't quite in the right headspace for this film. Wanted to do a lot of things, couldn't get them done. Had, bumped heads with the producers or whatever the case may be. And it was a sore spot for him for many years, until recently he's kind of turned around and embraced it. I think realizing that, as he said in the commentary, as I listened to, he was able to look back at years later with objective eyes and say, this is actually a pretty good movie. And it is. It's a really good film. Now, my history with 1990 Night of the Living Dead goes back to, I would have been about 15 when this came out. I do remember it coming out. I remember, seeing commercials for it and everything, and I was familiar with Night of the Living Dead, the original. I don't recall if I had seen it by that point, but I knew of it. And if I had seen it, and I think I did, and I think it was like a televised, a colorized version that aired on TV. It's never being a big deal. Oh, see Night of the Living Dead, we've colorized it, and and as a kid, I thought that's really cool. Black and white movies can be colorized. Let's check that out. That sounds really cool. Didn't know any better, but that's all I really call that. And like I said, the Night of the Living Dead 90 kind of came and went. I remember vaguely seeing like promotion for it, but then that's it. It wasn't until it was on cable that I really saw it and remember really enjoying it. And by that point, I think I became more familiar with the original, and I could see how this was the same but different. It does a really good job, in my opinion, of what a lot of remakes try to do but don't always succeed, where they're either trying to be the original too much to a T and they lose their identity, the Psycho remake, for example, or they're going to take the premise and kind of change it and turn it so much that it really creates its own identity. I don't want to say in spite of, but for its own purposes. That's something like Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead or Rob Zombie's Halloween. Your opinions on those may vary. What I like about Tom Savini's Night of the Living Dead is that it does a good job homaging and feeling very respectful, for lack of a better term, and it's respectful of the material. It's echoing the original film, but it's doing it. It's doing enough where it's setting you up for that, and making you feel like this is the original film. But it's taking little things and turning them on their head and making them different. The biggest case in point is the Barbara character. You look at Barbara in the original film, and she's catatonic mess throughout, and for good reason. I mean, she's gone through some crap. You take Barbara from this version, and you're this is 1990, so you're like 4 years removed from Sigourney Weaver in Aliens, Ripley, which I think Tom Savini mentioned that. And then you've got a Barbara who's been through stuff, but it's not going to hold her down. She's coming out of this on the other side of it, traumatized but stronger for it. She's a strong character, good, definitely the polar opposite of what the Barbara character is in the original film, where every other character in here is pretty much the same for the most part, even down to the casting. Is credit Tom Savini, made all the cast do a good job resembling that original series cast, with the exception of was it Patricia Tallman as Barbara in this. She's so much different in appearance and in character. A good standout in this is Tony Todd, one of his first major film roles, I believe. And he's so good. I mean, Tony Todd was always so good. He's such a so much charisma, such a strong presence. I mean, he's does a really good job in the Ben role, and all the cast is good. One of the big things about this particular version too is that what's hyped as this is a unrated version, so you're getting more of the gore, as opposed to what was edited out. Now, I don't think there's a whole great big ton of extras, just a few more head explosions and a few more gore shots. And you also get something that Tom Savini wanted to do originally, was open the film in black and white as an homage to the original film, and then change it to color for, at a certain point, a la Wizard of Oz, I guess you could say. And he gets to do that in this edition. And I've heard different opinions on how that works out. I think it looks really good in black and white. In that opening, it really gives you that feel of, okay, we're watching the original Night of the Living Dead. Now, I've heard people say when the transition comes that it could have been a more gradual or, a fade in as opposed to, just a sudden shot. It goes from, black and white to color, just major. And I like that personally because what you're getting is you're starting off with the black and white, like, oh, look, we're watching old Night of the Living Dead. This is how it is. This is, we're in familiar territory. Oh, look, there's the old man. He's coming down here. It's but no, it's not. It's not the zombie. It's, you're getting something different. And then when the first strike from a different zombie, that's when the color changes, or it changes to color. And that's kind of like the wake up, say, hey, look, this is our movie now. This is what you thought it was going to be, but at this point, we're doing something different. This is our film for now. I kind of like that approach. That's the way I saw it, but I appreciate that. So that's how it, the unrated cut opens up. Again, you have a few more bits of gore. As far as looks wise, this film looks amazing. I have my last recollection of this goes back to this old DVD I had of Night of the Living Dead from Columbia Pictures, I think it is. And it's I haven't looked at it. I didn't really do a comparison because I didn't need to do a comparison. Once I saw the 4K, I was like, there's no need of comparison. I guarantee this is better. I know there were Blu-ray releases of this, but from what I understand, they weren't very good. They had coloring issues or whatever the case may be. They just weren't good quality Blu-rays, and it's kind of just disappeared. But I will tell you, this 4K looks amazing. The color is really pop. I mean, again, especially when you start with that black and white and you jump into color, it just with in my case, HDR10, it just really kicks in. It looks really good. The sound is, this has a 5.1, I think a 7.1. I looked at the 7.1. It's a great, good sounding mix. Not too overbearing, but it's good. But mainly, this picture is just, it looks beautiful. So yeah, this definitely, the best, I would say, this film's that I recall seeing it in my time. Now, if I have one gripe, and this is a personal gripe, and it's not really a gripe, it's just a me thing, is I wish they'd had a standard edition and not just a Steelbook. And this is not just for this film. This goes across the board with these studios lately, which is something that I find very irritating. People are talking about irritated with these limited releases. Well, I'm irritated with them putting every 4K out on a Steelbook only and not giving you a standard edition 4K. And I know I say that because, as I said before, I'm not the biggest Steelbook fan. For whatever reason, I don't, aesthetically, they just don't do anything for me. I don't like them. Now, they're not deal breakers, obviously. I mean, if this is the only way I'm going to get it, then I'm going to get it. I'm not going to, poo-poo on it because it's a Steelbook. And that's the only edition, and it's the best one, then by God, I'll get it. I have a few of them like that. But it's just not my preference. I prefer a regular standard edition with, I ain't worried about slip covers. If you have it, that's great. But I prefer just a standard edition because I just don't care for Steelbooks. And like I said, it seems to be like every new major studio release that's coming out, everything's a Steelbook. And I get it. It's people, the collectors are buying them. They're charging a high price and making them. And that's fine, but I think you should put out a standard edition for those of us who don't always want the Steelbooks. The studios, though, what are you going to do? That being said, though, one thing I like about this is that it keeps this great original artwork, which is one of the problems I have with a lot of Steelbooks. They do fancy, over-the-top artwork, and I just don't care for. I'd rather keep something that's, very much like, the original artwork, it's close to being, or something that's not too over-the-top, which most of the Steelbooks that I purchased, luckily, are like that. Well, I think a lot of studio releases tend to be that, with a few exceptions. So to that point, this is a really nice looking Steelbook, I gotta admit. As the front, and you've got a really great image on the back. So hey, no complaints there. Like I said, I'll acknowledge if it looks good. I mean, it may not be our preference, but if it looks good, it looks good. So in taking a look inside, I'm going to do something here that, for all you people who did not get a copy, the one lucky person out there, grab that digital code. There it is. let someone know in the comments that you picked it up, though, so no one keeps trying to get it. That's my gift from me to you for those of you who weren't able to get a hold of it. Inside, we've got the 4K and your Blu-ray. Your 4K has basically this audio commentary on it, which I did listen to. It's a new audio commentary on this version with Tom Savini and Michael Felsher from Red Shirt Pictures, and it's a very fun. It's informative. I do like it a lot. And actually, that's just on the just for the unedited version. The Blu-ray disc. This is something that's also to point out too, because this was mislabeled early on, but both the theatrical and the unrated versions are in 4K. Initially, it was thought that only the unrated version would be 4K and the theatrical would just be Blu-ray. No, both versions are available on the 4K and on the Blu-ray as well. So kudos to the studio for doing that, but boo on them for not making that more known. Because I think that was a breaking point for some people for whatever reason, too. Excuse me. Or they were upset because the theatrical version wasn't 4K. So I understand, because the theatrical version is the more common one. And maybe they don't want the, extra gore and the black and white. They just want the film the way they want it, but they want it in 4K. Well, they've got it. I mean, they weren't told that, so they probably missed out on it because of that. That's a shame. Again, bad marketing on the studio's part. But the Blu-ray does have the rest of your special features, but there are a ton of here on here. Now, full disclosure, I have not got a chance to watch these because I wanted to get this out as soon as possible. I just kind of went over the film, listened to the commentary. That's the only special feature I got to check out. But let's go over what's on here. And I'm going to try and read this, this very, very fine print with my very, very old eyes. So we'll see how this goes. Like I said, I'll put this up there so you don't have to watch me kind of strain to read this. So, the 4K has, like I said, your theatrical and uncensored versions of the film. Your audio commentary with director Tom Savini, which is on the theatrical version, and then you have the commentary for the uncensored version with director Tom Savini, moderated by Michael Felsher, and all that's on the Blu-ray. You have the Dead Walk making of featurette, Savini's Night with director Tom Savini, Being Barbara with actress Patricia Tallman, Oh Brother with actor Bill Moseley, which I forgot he is in here also as Johnny. Return of the Living Dead with special makeup effects supervisors John Volich and Everett Burrell. Time with Tom with actor William Butler. Flesh and Blood with actors McKee Anderson and Heather Mazer. This print is so small. Even Living Dead Color with producers John A. Russo and Russell Steiner. I'm looking forward to checking that one out because from what I've heard, that's actually a really good interview. Cutting the Dead with editor Tom Dubinsky. The Dead Speak with zombie performers Greg Funk and Dirk Ashton and theatrical trailer. Whew, we got through that. I do apologize. I get a magnifying glass pretty soon. Whew, that was hard. So, again, this is a very nice stack edition. This is almost like a boutique release, except they probably would have put out a standard edition that wasn't a steelbook. But other than that, for a studio release, this is a really nice release, and kudos to them for putting this film out and for letting Tom get a chance to do, as he put it, like 70% of what he wanted to do. He goes in the commentary, talks a lot about the things, there are 3 or 4 things he wanted to do, wasn't able to do, and which is interesting. But if you've never seen 1990s Night of the Living Dead, you definitely owe it to yourself to check this out. This is a great, fun remake of the '68 original, and it stands on its own as well. But I just, this is a film that deserves to be rediscovered and reappreciated. And I think, besides its cult following that it's developed, for those of us in the know, I think more people outside of that should really check this out and give this one a second look. You won't be disappointed. So, okay, that is it for now. If you enjoyed it, just click thumbs up, share, subscribe, leave me a comment below. Let me know your thoughts on 1990s Night of the Living Dead, your thoughts on Steelbooks, Am I crazy? Or, were you able to pick this one up, or whatever the case may be? Or just say hi. I'll always take hi. So until next time, this is Chuck saying I will see you on the other side.